We're going to be jumping straight into Interstate 85 southbound. Interstate 85 southbound does have its charms like northbound, as we get to see the Gaffney Peach here in Gaffney, South Carolina heading this way, along with some pretty awesome mileage signs like northbound Interstate 85. And this time they actually do sign bigger cities going this way. So let us get started with Interstate 85 southbound. But first, you're watching the TheDerpHog, where I make highways content on all sorts of different topics. If you've been enjoying it, be sure to hit that like button. And if you've been really enjoying it, be sure to smash that subscribe button so you're notified on all future videos. And if you really want to help out the channel, become a member today, where you get custom cool emojis, early access to future videos, along with one free extra request per month. And if you don't want to become a member, you can always just pay $3 for a intersection request in future videos. Those highways will be listed down in the description below, and I'll make sure to shout you out when that video releases. So let's get on with the highway. As you can see here, this is the map of Interstate 85 once again as it runs from Montgomery, Alabama all the way up to Petersburg, Virginia. But in today's video, we're going to be starting in Petersburg and heading towards Montgomery. So with that, we're talking about southbound Interstate 85. So we begin here on Interstate 95 itself, where 85 is splitting off from 95, as 95 is getting signed south for Rocky Mount, while 85 gets signed south for Durham. Also, can someone please tell me why Rocky Mount is the only one that gets the North Carolina abbreviation, while both of these places are actually in North Carolina? Does VDOT think that people don't know that Durham is also in North Carolina too, or is there something else going on here? And also, once upon a time, this sign actually had some pretty awesome signage. So let us go back into the past and see what it was. Yes, that's right. 85 was signed south for both Durham and Atlanta, while 95 was signed south for Rocky Mount and Miami. I don't know why VDOT removed these two signs, but these are pretty awesome. Anyways, here on Interstate 85 itself, we're meeting with US Highway 1, and it gets no control cities. Why in the world does US 1 not have any control cities? I get US 1 northbound not having any because it'll take you back into downtown Petersburg, but US 1 south should have South Hill because that's where US 1 is going, while we should get Durham. Here's where US 460 splits off from Interstate 85, as it's being signed west for Blackstone and Lynchburg. That Lynchburg is the correct choice here, because that's the next major city that 460 will be passing through. And here's our first mileage sign of the video. We get South Hill on the top line and Durham as our primary from 120. And then 8 miles up the road, we get South Hill as our primary from 41 miles away. What happened to Durham? Why in the world are you being provincial, Virginia? See, I told you! They're signing South Hill over Durham. VDOT, why are you like this? You're not usually so provincial. Here we are meeting with US Highway 1, and this direction they actually tell us about a Virginia State Highway. Why can't you do that on northbound at exit 15 when we're getting time for that one place, VDOT? And this direction on exit 15, you don't get any mention of that one place that one Virginia State route is going to. So I don't know what's going on. Here I'm meeting with US Highway 58 as it gets the same control cities that we saw on northbound. And let us see what we're signed for on US 58. Hey, look at that. Durham comes back. What happened to you, Durham? I want you back. Oh boy, we're now entering the state of North Carolina. Let us see what North Carolina has to offer. But first, we have an exit with US 1 and 401 here, as they're getting signed for Warrenton and Lewisburg. And let us see what we're signed for on those two highways. We get signed for Henderson. What in the world happened to Durham? I want to see Durham come back. So it was only only appeared for 12 miles and it's gone again? Come on, sign Durham. It's your 4th biggest city, NC Dot. And they do sign Durham at the split with US Highway 1 here, which gets signed south for Raleigh. And we're basically already in Henderson. You do not need that Henderson here, NC Dot. And now we're meeting with US Highway 158 here in Henderson, and it gets the Kentucky treatment. No, even worse, it gets a Kentucky treatment. So how about putting Oxford and Roxborough here? Oh wait, they do have Oxford. Move it over to US 158, while 85 should just get Durham. Here we meet with US 158 once again, as it's being signed for Oxford and Roxborough. Why couldn't they do that at exit 213? And our next mileage sign, we get Burlington as our primary. What if you want to sign something beyond Durham? Do Greensboro. Greensboro is only another 20 miles up the road from Burlington. So do Durham and Greensboro, not Burlington. Plus, we're not in Vermont. Here you're arming with US Highway 15 as it's being signed for Oxford and Clarksville. So I see that they're favoring US 15 northbound here, not southbound. But we do meet with US 15 later up the road, and it's getting signed north for Butner. No, well, Butner is technically north of here, but US 15 does not go north to Butner. It actually goes north to Creedmoor. So put Creedmoor here, or do Creedmoor and Butner, not just Butner by itself. I'm gonna take a look at Falls Lake to calm me down from what I just saw. Anyways, here in Durham, we're meeting with Interstate 885 and US Highway 70 as braking sign for Raleigh once again, which is the correct choice. While 15 and 70 West is going to be joining with us as we head towards Greensboro. Here's the exit for 15501 Business along with North Carolina 55 as they're taking into downtown Durham, while 501 South is going to be joining with us soon, and it just gets 2 Kentucky treatments and Northgate. Here's where 15501 splits off as it'll take you over to North Carolina 147, as North Carolina 147 exit is a Y exit and we cannot access it going southbound on 85. But 15 and 501 do get the control city of Chapel Hill, which is the correct choice. Here is where US 70 now is splitting off from us, as it's just getting 2 North Carolina 86 north. Here we are arming with North Carolina 86 itself as it's being signed for Chapel Hill and Hillsboro. And let's see what we're signed for on 86. Hey, look at that, we're getting signed for Greensboro. Let's go. Here arming with Interstate 40, and 40 is getting signed east for Raleigh, while we're getting signed west for Greensboro, which is the correct choice. Our next mileage sign, we get Greensboro as our primary from 34 miles away, so that is awesome. Here we are arming with Mebane Oaks Road once again, along with North Carolina 119, which also will take me to Mebane. So, who do I choose to go to Mebane here? 119 or Mebane Oaks Road? 119 or Mebane Oaks Road? Now we're meeting with North Carolina 54, along with North Carolina 87 and another mile or so. And like 119 and Mebane Oaks Road, we're getting signed for both Graham. So who do I choose to go to Graham? 54, 87, 54, or 87? What's this? We get Charlotte on our next mileage sign from 110 miles away? What? NC Dot is not NC Dotting here? This is pretty awesome. I'd say this is an actual W here. Let's go. And they do stick with it once we split off from Interstate 40. This is totally awesome. Let's go, NC Dot. Here we're arming with US Highway 421 and future Interstate 685 here, as they take you south to Sanford. And here's my own picture of 421 splitting off from Interstate 85. And in very poor quality, we can still see that we're getting signed south for Charlotte still. Here we meet with US 29 and 70 for the, 29 for the first time, but we're also meeting 70 once again, as 85 is now getting signed south for Salisbury and Charlotte. Here we are meeting with Interstate 74, which is being signed for Winston-Salem and Asheboro, which are good choices. And here we get an odd-looking mileage sign. We get Lexington on our top line, Charlotte as our primary from 77 miles away, and for some reason NCDOT has put Thomasville as our tertiary, but as an afterthought. And I looked at previous street views and this has always been there, so I don't know what the deal for this mileage sign is. Here is where 85 is going under 85, and we get another mileage sign with Charlotte from 85 miles away. Are you sick of me saying 85 again? Come on, you like the number 85. I'm just kidding, Charlotte is getting signed from 68 miles away. Here are, after Interstate 85 becomes a proper highway once again, we are meeting with US Highway 64 as it's getting signed for Lexington and Asheboro. And on 64 itself, we are getting signed for Charlotte. And we also get a rare instance where NCDOT is actually using Clearview font instead of its normal Highway Gothic. Here we meet with North Carolina 47, which will take you over to US 52 and Interstate 285. And since they do not have room on here to put 29 and 70 here, those two highways are concurrent with 52 and 285. And here is where US 29 and 70 splits off from us as they head toward my good buddy Spencer, while 85 is getting signed south for Salisbury and Charlotte still, along with 52. Here is where US 52 splits off from Interstate 85 as it's heading towards Salisbury and Albemarle, while 601 is actually going to be joining with us in 1.5 miles. And then further down the road, US 601 splits off from Interstate 85, and we're now just getting signed south for Charlotte, which is the correct choice. And then once we enter in the Charlotte area, we're now meeting with the Charlotte Ring Road, or Interstate 485, as it's getting signed for inner and outer for Matthews and Huntersville, and we're now getting signed south for Spartanburg. Interesting. Even though we haven't made it to downtown Charlotte yet. Here we meet with North Carolina Highway 24, which just gets a Kentucky treatment, which makes sense because technically this area around here is its western terminus. Here are meeting with Interstate 77 and US 21, which are getting signed for Statesville and Columbia. 77 will actually take you to downtown Charlotte here. I wonder why it's not getting signed for Charlotte instead. Also, we got another Statesville overload. Here we meet with Interstate 485 once again on the south side of Charlotte, and it just gets signed for Huntersville. And here we meet with North Carolina Highway 273, and this time Belmont is put on there with Mount Holly. Also from here to roughly 385, I'll have my own pictures because a few months ago, I actually got onto Interstate 85 from this exit here, so that's awesome. And here we can see that we're now getting signed for Gastonia. What's happened to Spartanburg? NCDOT, you were doing so well. Now we're going back to our horrible NCDOTingness. Here we meet with North Carolina Highway 70. It'll take you to Massachusetts. What? Here we are meeting with US Highway 321, which is the reason why we're getting signed for Gastonia. And let us see what we're signed for on 321. Are you kidding me? We're getting signed south for Kings Mountain. That's literally like the last town here in North Carolina that 85 passes through. Do you have something against Spartanburg, NCDOT? Sign Spartanburg. And then here we are meeting with North Carolina Highway 274, which gets signed for East Bessemer City and West Gastonia. And then we're now meeting with US 74, which was probably the reason why we're getting signed for Kings Mountain. No, we should have been getting signed for Spartanburg. Here is North Carolina Highway 161, which will also take you into Kings Mountain. And then here is where we split off from US Highway 29, as it was concurrent with us from US 74. And then 4 miles up the road, we're now entering into the state of South Carolina. So let us see what South Carolina has to offer us. Our first exit in South Carolina is US Highway 29, which will take you into Virginia. What? No, oh, that's Blacksburg, South Carolina. Here is exit 100, which is the Blacksburg Highway, and will take you up to Shelby, North Carolina. Here we get our first mileage sign here in South Carolina, and our first one in a long time actually, with Greenville now as our primary from 53 miles away, which is the correct choice. Here is the Gaffney Peach, which is a pretty cool attraction to me. And then further up the road, we still get Greenville as our primary from 37 miles away. And then here in Spartanburg, we're meeting with US 176, which will take you over to 585. And we're also going to be meeting with Interstate 26, as it's being signed for Asheville and Columbia. And then once we get closer to Greenville, we're now getting signed for Atlanta? Atlanta from 169 miles away? That is awesome, SC Dot. Lyman, it's back again! And this time it is actually mentioned on US 29. Oh no. Here are we with South Carolina Highway 14, which will actually take you over to the Greenville-Spartanburg International Airport. And here is a poor quality picture of meeting with Interstate 385 and in South Carolina 146 here. As 385 is being signed for Columbia and Greenville, while we're getting now signed south for Atlanta. Here in the Greenville area, we're meeting with US Highway 25 and South Carolina 20 once again, and 85 still gets a pull through for Atlanta. Here we meet with US 29 and Interstate 185 as it's being signed for Greenville and Columbia, while 85 is being signed south for Atlanta still. Here on our next mileage sign, we get Atlanta as our primary from 137 miles away. And at random interchanges here in South Carolina, we are getting signed south for Atlanta. Here we are meeting with US Highway 76 once again, as it will take you over into Clemson, while 76 East will take you into Anderson. And here's our last exit in South Carolina, as it's for South Carolina Highway 11. And after crossing over Lake Hartwell, we are now entering into the state of Georgia. Let us see what Georgia has to offer. And our first mileage time, we get Atlanta from 96 miles away. Good job, G-Dot. Here you are meeting with US Highway 441. And like northbound, it gets signed for Commerce, Homer, and Banks Crossing. Even though Athens is not mentioned on this sign, there is a off-road sign that does tell you that this is the exit to get to Athens, which is the where University of Georgia is. And then further up the road, we're meeting with US Highway 129, which will take you over to the good Gainesville, because like North Carolina 147, we only have a Y junction with Interstate 985. And then once we get closer to the Atlanta metro area, we're meeting with Interstate 285 once again, which gets the awesome control cities of its parent route, or in other interstate routes that it's going to meet. And then we're now meeting with US Highway 23, which will take you over into Decatur, Georgia. And here you are meeting with Georgia Highway 13 and 400, and we're now getting signed for downtown Atlanta. Interesting. Here are meeting with Interstate 75 right in front of the Peachtree Street Bridge, or US 19, as 75 North is being signed for Marietta and Chattanooga, while we're going to be joining with 75 South. Here in downtown Atlanta, we are meeting with Interstate 20, which is getting signed west for Birmingham and east for Augusta. And this is the southern terminus of the part of Interstate 85 I have been on. So south of here, we are just going to be on regular 85. We also have an exit for Turner Field. I did not know that still existed. Here is where we split off from Interstate 75, as we're now getting signed south for Domestic Atlanta Airport and Montgomery, while 75 is getting signed south for International Airport in Macon. Here arming with US Highway 19 and 41, as it's just getting signed the Metropolitan Parkway, while we're getting signed south for Columbus and Montgomery. Here we meet 285 once again, and this time it's getting signed for Birmingham and Macon, while 85 is now still getting south for Columbus and Montgomery still. Here's where we say goodbye to Interstate 285 until sometime maybe next spring or so. And at random interchanges here, Interstate 85 is signed south for Montgomery. Here arming with Georgia Highway 34, as it's getting signed for Noonan and Shenandoah. Are you kidding me? Do y'all not want to know what Shenandoah is? It's literally a neighborhood here in the city of Noonan. GDOT is giving a state highway a neighborhood here. Why can't they give 34 an actual control city? That should be Peachtree City instead of Shenandoah. If you want to sign a neighborhood, I don't know, just put it on the exit, like on the side of the road on the exit itself, not on an overhead sign on a major interstate. Shine Peachtree City, GDOT. And then here's where GDOT makes another mistake here. This is actually US 27 alternate, but for some random reason, GDOT is signing it as proper US 27, but it does get, I don't know, good control cities of Moreland and Greenville. Plus, I really want to fix that 27. Here you go. Now it's 27 all. And then to rub even more salt into the wound, we get LaGrange as our primary. So, what's happened to Montgomery? We were being signed for Montgomery up in Atlanta, now we're getting signed for LaGrange? GDOT, why are you acting like NC-DOT here? Or IDOT? Change your lane. Sign Montgomery. But thank you. Further up the road, we do get Montgomery once again from 114 miles away. And now meeting with Interstate 185 here, also taking to Columbus, Georgia. And it looks like that they were going to put up a pull-through here, but never got around to, because I looked at all previous Street View, and there was never anything mentioned here. So I decided to make my own pull-through here and just put 85 south for Montgomery. Here you're arming with US Highway 27 proper, and this is probably the reason why we were signed for LaGrange. And after crossing over the Chattahoochee River, we're now entering into the state of Alabama. Let us see what Alabama has to offer here. And our first exit is for US Highway 29, and we also get a not so great looking welcome sign from Alabama. And on US 29, we are getting signed for Montgomery, which is their state capital. Can you please, hey Alabama, can you please tell FDOT and NC-DOT how to sign their capitals correctly? And our first mileage sign here in Alabama, we do get Montgomery on the bottom line from 78 miles away. Here arming with US Highway 29 once again, and here arming with US Highway 280 and 431 once again. And AlDOT is actually giving us some useful information here, as 280 West is now going to be joining with Interstate 85 here. And here's where US 280 splits off from Interstate 85, as it will also get the same town that 29 was getting. Here arming with US Highway 29 South, along with Alabama Highway 147, as they get signed for Auburn. And then here you're arming with US Highway 80, and US 80 East is actually exiting here, while 80 West is now going to be concurrent with us as we head towards Montgomery. And then here in Montgomery, US 80 splits off from us, and we're also meeting with US 231 and Alabama Highway 21. And 85 South just gets nothing here, which I think is the good choice, because we're only 6 miles from its southern terminus, so what would you put here? Maybe once 85 gets extended in the future, you could put Jackson or a Meridian, but right now, nothing is the correct choice. And here's the last exit on the Interstate 85 as a team for Union Street, and we're going to be meeting with Interstate 65 in a 1 1/4 of a mile. And here's the official southern terminus of Interstate 85 for now, as 85 has plans of being extended west into the future. But as of right now, it ends at Interstate 65, which gets signed south from Mobile, and north for Birmingham, which are the correct choices. So we end Interstate 85 here and move on to the way it should be. So here are all the places I think it should be on 85. Northbound, I'd do Atlanta, then Greenville, then Charlotte, then Greensboro, then actually co-sign Raleigh and Durham like they do. And then once 40 leaves, just do Durham, and then finally, not Petersburg, just Richmond from north of Durham. Like how NC did prior to 2018. And then for southbound, I'll do Durham from the jump, then Greensboro, then Charlotte, then I actually do Greenville instead of Spartanburg because Greenville is actually bigger than Spartanburg. And then Atlanta, and then not LaGrange, and then Montgomery as our primary. And then finally, you could do what 65 and either go towards Birmingham or Mobile. And then as a bonus, Georgia Highway 34 should not get Shenandoah, it should get Peachtree City. And that ends Interstate 85. Thank y'all so much for watching this short series on Interstate 85. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about the highway and me ranting at a couple of these horrible signs on 85 southbound. Anyways, here are my next few highways. If you have any requests for any of these upcoming highways, please let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll make sure to shout you out once these highways release. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on Christmas when we tour the country.